A lot of you have researched through Petful, different career paths, some things that you might want to pursue when you're older. All right, we have two gentlemen today. Their names are Shreyas and Saransh, and they're here to present to you their findings from their podcast that they've started. It's called FormuLATTE, and they're going to tell you a little bit about that. But basically, they have interviewed business people, lawyers, doctors, all kinds of people across Monroe to see why they are successful in business and what success means to them. They're also going to touch a little bit on some things about high school. They are high school juniors here at the high school. So they're going to tell you a little bit about time management, which is another unit we touched upon. So they're going to teach you a couple things about that. But the expectations today are really just to be actively engaged and listening. All right, being respectful, always look up here. If you're sitting next to somebody that you think you're going to talk to, maybe now's a good time to find a new seat. So we want to make sure that you give them your full attention. There will be an opportunity at the end for some questions, so we're going to pick a few people to answer some questions, and we will see how that goes depending on how much time we have. They do have a good presentation. There are going to be some laughs, so when it's appropriate, you can laugh. All right, but we want to keep it to an appropriate level and make sure we just enjoy this special day. All right, so now introducing the two gentlemen, come on up. We have Shreyas and Saransh.
Hey guys, thank you for having us today. How you guys doing?
Great!
Amazing. So, welcome to our presentation. As Mr. Pilato introduced, my name is Shreyas, and this is my boy Saransh.
And today, we're talking about FormuLATTE, our podcast.
Alright, so on the left, that's me, Shreyas Mishra. And when I want to grow up, when I do grow up, I want to be an investment banker. And a fun fact about me is that I play the guitar.
So as I said, my name is Saransh. When I grow up, my dream job is to be a lawyer. And a fun fact about me is that I play, coach, and referee soccer. In the middle, you'll see three of literally the most valuable people that we have. Neil Joshi, Surya Raj, and Neev Chokuri. Without them, our podcast would be literally impossible because Shreyas is one of the worst editors of all time.
Guys, it's okay. It's not my thing. Alright, so what do we do and what is FormuLATTE? So, FormuLATTE, let's break down the name a little bit. Formula and latte. We wanted to see the formula in which business owners and different people in different careers obtain success. And latte, who doesn't like having coffee?
I know Mr. Pilato loves coffee. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, so we combine them to make FormuLATTE. And what we do is we interview and bring people on our podcast that are really cool, have experience in a lot of jobs, and give back to the community in some way, in some form.
So on the bottom, you can see three pictures. We're going to really talk about a little bit more about them in depth, but these are just three of our episodes. And on the right, our dream episode, Mr. LeBron James. If you could ever get him on the podcast, that would be great. So if any of you guys do know Mr. LeBron, you can tell him to hit us up, please.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about the problem and our solution with our podcast. So in our high school, 60% of kids, if you ask them what they want to do when they grow up, they'll say the word business. I want to go into business. But business is such a broad topic, and it's not really specified to the amount that it can be, because there's entrepreneurship, finance, economics, and there's so many things. So our solution was to create a podcast in which, as Shrey said, we interview a lot of these people, and we ask them, how did you get to where you are today? Your high school, college journey, and all these kinds of things. And we were thinking, when we came up with the idea originally, it was like, it could be a blog too, why don't we just write articles? But we really think that the best way to get our message across is by talking, and I love talking.
Alright, so I have a question for you guys. Who knows how many types of doctors there are? You guys can raise your hands. Yeah, you're right there.
Yeah.
A lot.
We'll just say there's a lot of doctors, okay?
Yeah, because I don't know
That's a great answer. That's a great answer, because we're gonna get to that later. Alright, let's calm down. Okay, so we can go to the next slide.
Yeah.
So each episode has three main aspects: discussion, exploration, and advice. In discussion, we talk to these professionals about their journeys in high school, college, getting their first job, and where they are today. We also talk about exploration. What do they want to do in the future? Is retirement in their mind? Is starting a business in their mind? Or are they happy with their job they're at?
And finally, we have advice, where we gain advice from a lot of these different people and how they really achieve success, what different paths they took, and they give us guidance, just like me and Saransh, who are high schoolers, as well as you guys, on how to maybe progress your life and, aim your shot.
So, without like the definition on the screen, can anyone tell me what a career is? Yeah, you.
So a career is anything that you do when you grow up. Anything that requires skill.
Okay, that's a really good answer. But, the answer that we see right here is it's a collection of experiences through jobs that lead to professional growth. So, let's break that down a little bit. You learn so many different things. You can go to the next slide. And what I feel like a career is like a big adventure, where you try so many new jobs, you learn new school skills, you find out what you're good at, and also give back to the community.
I think it's like a game. Raise your hand if you've ever played the game of life before. Do you guys like, of course, the majority of you. Honestly, I think it's my favorite board game of all time because of the different paths you can take, and like the end goal is what? Retirement. And to get retired, you're gonna need a lot of money, but we're gonna talk about that a little bit. So I want you guys to really think of a career as a game.
Right. And back to the initial findings. Saransh said it before, but 60% is a lot of people. Let's say you turn and talk to your next partner. You ask, what do you want to grow up? A bunch of them are going to say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a businessman. But like these things have so many different aspects. You can see right here, it says types of doctors. That's like 32.
All right, Shreyas, we know you're a math nerd.
And then there's business majors. You see how many business majors there are? There's so many. And even more careers behind that.
Exactly.
So we wanted to get guests on our podcast who were experienced in this and could tell us a little bit more about it. So let's see what some of our guests have to say.
So our first guest was Mr. Arnav Mishra, the CEO and founder of Dine, a company that helps restaurants market their business through AI. Does anyone know what AI stands for? Yeah, you're right there. You, yeah. Okay.
Good, that's good.
It does stand for artificial intelligence, and I'll let Trace talk a little bit more about Mr. Mishra's company.
So, Mr. Mishra started his company back when he was in college and when COVID was still around. He saw that a lot of restaurants weren't able to get that many people into their restaurants. And they weren't able to stand out against companies like McDonald's or Popeyes or Taco Bell. And what he did was that he attacked this head on and used AI data analytics. Really big word, but basically it helps these people bring in more customers. So let's see what he has to say.
It's true, no company starts like a Microsoft. But in order to become like Microsoft, the Apples or the Googles of the world, you need to build some partnerships, and that starts with people. So build the relation, build the partnerships, scale the operations.
Definitely, and we believe that networking is a huge part of business.
Absolutely.
Okay, so basically what he said was that you want to build partnerships and foster relationships. When you do this, you get so many more opportunities. And we'll talk about this a little bit later as well. Okay, so here we have our next guest, Mr. Andrew Meltzer. He is a lawyer. Throughout his childhood, he faced many challenges and ended up in the special needs education program.
Yeah, so as Shreyas just said, he was part of the special education program when he was a kid, which he felt did not give him the amount of opportunities that he felt he needed to become like a real success in life. So what he does right now as a lawyer is he helps those like him. He works as a special education lawyer for the company, for the law firm Sussin, Greenwald, and Wessler, and he's really giving back to his community because he knows what people like him have gone through, and he wants to change their lives for the good, and for that, Mr. Meltzer is really amazing.
Something that stuck with both me and Saransh was his favorite saying, passion and profit. Who doesn't want to make money here? Okay, don't raise your hand because we know you do. Alright, so passion and profit. You obviously want to make money while doing something. And we'll go on to this a little bit more later as well. So let's see what Mr. Andrew Meltzer has to say about high schoolers in the same situation as me and Saransh.
But I think one of the other important things too is, and I see this a lot with the kids I work with a lot of high schoolers. The most common issue with high schoolers now in special education is anxiety. There is, especially since the pandemic, because you missed out on a lot of school years. So oftentimes what I see is that in high school environments, there's so much pressure put on the students by themselves. Families have high expectations, the teachers have high expectations, but taking care of yourself, having a break every now and then is so important.
So raise your hand if you really feel, have you ever felt anxious with your schoolwork at times? Like you couldn't get it done or you had a test the next day you didn't study for? Exactly. It's a lot of you, and you guys are still in 6th grade, which is why we're going to talk a lot more about balancing your life in middle school and how we've done it in high school. But that comes a little later. So for now, that was Mr. Andrew Meltzer.
Okay, Mr. Prakash Parab. He is a community leader, and he started off his journey back in India, where the work is a lot harder. In school, you have to study a lot more, and he was able to come to the US and start his Medicare career.
So Mr. Parab was a biomedical engineer before he retired. But what's really interesting is that he used artificial intelligence to create new products in the medical industry. After retirement, though, he worked on some new community initiatives, including Monroe Indians for Civic Action and the SAVA program. So I'll talk a little bit more about those. So the SAVA program is one where volunteers of any age, and he really prefers children, go and get food to donate to local churches and things like that. I myself have been a volunteer in the program for over 3 years now, and I believe I've raised over 150 pounds of food for the local churches. And for this, Mr. Parab is really inspirational because he remembers where he came from and he uses his culture in his volunteer work today. And I really encourage you guys to find out more about the SAVA program and volunteer if you have the possibility to.
Mr. Parab focuses on being a jack of all trades. So, what is a jack of all trades? For me and Saransh, what we interpreted it as is that you want to find out a lot of things. You want to go into, let's say, an internship. You want to go do some volunteering. And you find out what you're really good at. And through this, you can see your passion, and you can see which way you want to go later in life. So let's see what Mr. Parab has to say.
Exposure of the child to different fields is very important, right from when they are in the 9th grade and all. And every child, it is important, has basic knowledge is important. Language, the grammar, the way you communicate. So that is very important. So when you are in the school, learn that mathematics, science, history, all these 5 or 6 basic pillars one has to learn. By that time the child understands, oh, I have more affinity to biology, I have more affinity to chemistry, or where the passion is, okay?
So, who here thinks math is their favorite subject? Alright, this guy, don't listen to him, okay? Who here likes science? ELA? Guys, come on, I want more hands for ELA. What are we doing? Anyway, basically, as Shreyas said, Mr. Parab thinks it's good to get an experience in literally everything before you really decide what you're good at. And you guys are still in 6th grade. You're not entirely sure about what you can do or what your real potential is. And we'll talk about that a little more. So let's move on to the next guest. So, our next guest was Mr. Shreyas and Saransh. Mr. Alatar has always been interested in art in his life, and he actually lived in India before coming to the United States and working as a graphic designer. In India, he lived in both the north and the south. He told us that in the north, they prioritized everything: education, extracurriculars, sports. But when he moved to the south, there was a complete shock to him, as they only focused on education. Mr. Alatar felt that this didn't really align with his interests, and he wanted to do art, so he came to the United States for better opportunities.
He found his inspiration from a movie that most of us love and cherish. Who here likes Star Wars?
What?
Exactly. Okay, don't listen to him. But he found that the producers and the directors, he loved the way that they did the special effects, the sound effects, how they portrayed different events, and he fell in love with the genre. So he started working as a graphic designer.
Along with graphic design, Mr. Parab does his own work on the side with neurodiverse individuals, or those with special needs. He actually recently started the Jolly Genie Theater Company, in which he employs or gives jobs to these individuals and shows them their real potential. In his latest play, his entire cast was made up of individuals with special needs, and it was truly a really great performance, and we encourage you guys to go check it out. So let's move on to our last guest now. I'm sorry, we have to hear what Mr. Author has to say.
And I wanted to ask a little bit, how was your middle school, high school journey? And were there any things that, you weren't able to overcome and that you took a different route to overcome?
Yeah, great question. So when you move from one region to another, and especially in India, when you go from the south to the north and then come back to the south, there are a lot of culture shocks that you'll come across, and so I had my share of that. So again, there's a difference in when you grew up in the north, at least in Pune when I was growing up, you were so, I was in a Catholic school, so there was a different way of discipline in there, and the philosophies of our teachers and what you taught, the emphasis on sports and things like that was amazing growing up. And then come to high school, and when I came to the South, it was an absolute culture shock for me because the emphasis was a lot on academics. Sports, oh my God, that's an extracurricular activity. No, that's a distraction.
Exactly, you heard it from him himself. He talks about his experiences. And here we have Mr. Michael Rosenberg. Throughout his childhood, he always wanted to follow in his footsteps of his father. He wanted to become an accountant. But throughout his educational career, he saw that maybe that's not what he wanted to do, and then pivoted to finance and sales.
So, after getting a bunch of jobs in accounting, finance, and sales, by the way, those are all things that have to do with money. I'm not sure if you guys have heard those terms before. He decided to look in the market and see what business he could make, and he started the pickleball club in Monroe. How many of you guys have ever heard of the sport pickleball? How many of you guys have parents who play it, or you play it yourselves? My dad himself is an avid pickleball player, trust me. Avid. Very, very good pickleball player. And basically, during COVID, racquetball sports were honestly at their peak as more adults were trying to get active and engaged in athletic training. So he found that there was no actual pickleball court in Monroe at the time, and he made a club so that it could be more accessible to people around us. And that's where he had a career shift. And we're going to talk about this a little more later, but don't be too stuck on one job at a time because there can always be a shift. Let's hear what Mr. Rosenberg has to say. When you were working your jobs in sales, finance, and all that, what were some lessons that you learned going from job to job?
One is it was way more of who I know than what I knew.
Heard that a lot.
That was a lot. I mean, look, my first internship was a friend of the family worked there and said, hey, maybe we'll hire an intern, and they did. And then I was able to earn my way into a job, but I don't think I would have known about that opportunity if it hadn't been for who I've known. I would definitely say that. So that's why I try to, at least with my kids or whoever, like foster relationships. Like communication is key, and I think people take that for granted a lot, thinking I have good grades, I get good SAT scores, I have a good transcript, I'll get into a good school, and that's going to equal something. We take a look today, there was an article that came out yesterday that even people that are graduating from Harvard are having a tough time finding jobs. It's not an easy job market, so it is not all of what you know. I would definitely implore people, it's who you know.
So that's one of his key points. It's not about what you know, it's not all about what you know, but it's about who you know as well. So, what are the main lessons we learned from speaking to these 5 individuals? 3 main things that I learned, and I also told Saransh that I learned, was you want to retain your passion. You always want to be passionate about something, and you want to continue on that line. Next, you want to sustain your values. Your values help you so much, and if you keep them with you, you'll go in a good direction. And profit. You always want to make money doing something that you love. And we can continue on that.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I also want to point your attention to this. If you have an idea for anything, never give up. Because me and Shreyas, it was tough for us to get our first guest on FormuLATTE. Set up the setup, or like find the setup originally. Oh, where are we going to do it? How are we going to get mics? How are we going to get funding for anything? But we worked through the first month. We figured out the logistics. And now we've been able to create a pretty successful podcast, I would say.
Okay, now about the one key takeaway. As we saw with Mr. Arnav Mishra and Mr. Michael Rosenberg, it's not all about what you know, it's about who. Your connections are very important because you never know how they might help you in the future. Build relationships, talk to people, foster, and just be friendly and interact with a lot of people. And then you'll be able to, see new opportunities arise.
But before we continue, let's talk a little bit more about passion, because you said the word passion a little bit, but me and Shreyas have quite different definitions for it. I think that passion is something that you love.
And for me, it's an intense enthusiasm towards something, where you have the dedication to complete it.
But we both agree on one thing, is that finding your passion cannot be done in a snap of a finger like this. It takes patience and it takes time. So, has anyone ever heard of the Japanese word ikigai? That's really cool. We're going to talk a little bit more about it. So, this is a visual representation of what ikigai actually is. And in Japanese, it directly translates to what life means. And it describes what gives life meaning, purpose, and joy. And this can be applied to jobs and your careers.
Okay, so let's go into a little bit more depth. Okay, so this is my personal favorite, what you love. You always want to combine your passion and your mission to find out something that you love. Okay, so what is your mission? Your mission is something that you want to achieve, whether that be learning a new language, talking to more people, waking up early, sleeping early, and just something that you want to do. These are short-term right now, but when you go and start getting career jobs, then it becomes a little bit more long-term. Okay, so you combine passion and your profession. What is your profession? It's your job. And we've talked about passion. It's something that you want to do. So, for me, my passion is math. I know not a lot of people would say the same, but it's just interesting. And I don't really have a profession in math yet, but I still really like to do it. So that makes me good at it. I feel like I'm decently good at math.
This guy's actually excited for the calc test that we have tomorrow. But anyway, I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think your strengths are? Come on, you have to have, everyone has some strengths. Yeah, you have that.
Yeah.
Science, that's really cool. Yeah. Sorry? Soccer, that's really nice too. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay, you're front.
Yeah. Both of you. Reading, that's nice. And you? That's nice. Alright. So yeah, it's basically this school subjects for you. We can move on. So now I want to talk about what the world needs. So making an impact and knowing what problems you can really solve, that's what the world needs. And in my eyes, the world needs teachers. Not just school teachers, although they're really important. Everyone can be a teacher. Imagine I was a 70-year-old man who's already retired from a job in finance, and Shreyas was a 30-year-old, and he's just starting his first job, because trust me, you're staying unemployed until 30. Anyway, I could give him advice, and that would technically make me a teacher, because I'm passing down the knowledge that I've gained over time. Although, for example, I'll give you the example of Mr. Meltzer. As I said before, I want to be a lawyer when I grow up, and Mr. Meltzer is a lawyer. Although he's not a teacher per se, he taught me, and he gave me advice on things that I need to do to become a lawyer.
Okay, so you see the new word right here, and it's called vocation. So I'm going to define that a little bit more for you. Vocation directly is suitability. And what suitability means is if you feel like you belong. So, if you feel like you belong and you want to continue your mission, you want to improve the world, you want to help someone, that makes you, it makes you help the world. And it's really important. So I want you guys to ask yourself, what's one way you currently like to help others or the world around you?
Come on, someone.
I know at least one of you has done something.
Pick up trash.
Pick up trash. That's really nice. That's good. Yeah, helping the physical world is really important. Yeah. That's really nice. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's really nice. We'll take one more, yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Oh, recycling. That's really cool activity.
Yeah, and you see the picture on the right here? It's the earth with a lot of hands on it. And truly, the world wouldn't spin without unity. People need to be together to create a change in the world.
Yeah. So, this one is my personal favorite. It's what you can be paid for. So who likes money?
Who wants luxury cars?
Who wants to own a bunch of cars when they grow up?
Who wants a huge house? Okay, see?
So, money can buy a lot of things. It can buy these cars. It can buy these shoes. What it can't buy, and what I want to stress, is that it can't buy happiness. And that's what Ikigai is really about. Although you can be paid for genuinely just about anything, being happy is what really your profession should involve. You should be happy and be paid for it at the same time. And that's really what Ikigai is all about.
Yeah, so the world doesn't run without money, and we all know this. So you obviously want to be paid well, but that's where vocation comes in. I'll give you an example. Let's say I was a doctor, but I didn't really feel comfortable operating on people or measuring dosages. Then I wouldn't feel like going to work every day. I wouldn't feel like putting the effort in. And that would make me perform less and just not be a good person, not be a good doctor person.
Yeah.
Also not help contribute to the world. And so what I want to stress here is that even if you're making a lot of money, but you still just hate what you're doing, maybe that's not your passion. So I feel like vocation comes into a picture a lot here.
So basically, what Ikigai is literally just FormuLATTE, and what FormuLATTE aspires to give everyone that watches our video. Passion, mission, profession, and vocation. And on the left is a little behind the scenes picture. There we go. So let's talk a little bit about high school. Oh, no, we're not done, trust me. So, it might seem like it's very far away because you guys are only in 6th grade, but trust me, it's literally, it comes by really quickly. And it seems scary for now, but that's okay. And Shreyas is going to talk a little bit about how we really transform from freshman to junior years.
So, who can tell me how many years of high school there are? Yeah, I've only been through 3 of them. I mean, not even fully 3. So I'm going to give you some of my experiences and what I learned. So freshman year is where you start learning as well. You become comfortable in the environment that's freshman year. You see how the school works, you see how you can interact with your friends. And honestly, freshman year is very, very fun. Sophomore year is where you learn, grow, and explore. You explore your interests. You find things that you like to do. You choose classes that are helpful to you. And you help become yourself,
Yeah.
you make yourself a better person.
That's what's really important about high school, is learning about who you are personally.
Okay, now we've come to junior year. And that's the year that me and Saransh are in right now. I'll be honest, guys, it's a lot of work. It's the most academically tedious year, out of all 4 of them. You have to take the SAT, take the ACT, or do which one you like. To do sports, clubs, activities. You have AP classes, you have just regular classes that you need to study for. And it does become a lot at some times. But something that we like to focus on is time management. As you can see on the left right here, this is Saransh's My Homework app. And it's an app on your iPad that helps you keep track. And Saransh will tell you more about that.
Yeah, so basically, if you guys didn't already know this, by the time you get to high school, you get an iPad for all 4 years, and you just do all of your assignments on that. But for those of you who are a little happy, you can't watch YouTube the whole time. Anyway, what I use is called the My Homework app because it really helps me organize my tests, quizzes, and assignments that I have coming up. That is genuinely what I had over the last 2 days, and it was a lot, to be honest. And that, unfortunately, is not what my desk looks like.
Yeah, trust me, it's not his desk. Okay, so, balance. Okay, I know you guys may be laughing, but trust me, dealing with an injury puts a lot of stress on you. And that's why I want to talk about balance. You want to do school, you want to do your work, you want to have a lot of different things that you like to do, while also continuing to put your effort in and put 100% of effort in.
So, you want to relieve your stress outside of school, which is really what balance is about. Me and Shreyas, we do take a good amount of AP classes, like I'm taking 4 currently, and Shreyas is taking 5, I think. So we do have a lot on our plates, but we try to make time for sports and the things that we love. I played soccer in my freshman and sophomore year for the junior varsity team, and Shreyas has done track for 3 years, more like be injured for all 3 years.
Okay, so he's just lying now.
As you can see on the right, Shreyas is always faking an injury. Trust me.
I'm not faking. Alright, so let's talk about trying new things. And, clubs. So, in the high school, there's so many different options that you can do to help choose your own passion. For me and Saransh, we've done 3 similar clubs. We've done one, Model United Nations, FBLA, and Econ and Finance team. These clubs have a lot of work in them. But trust me when I say, these are probably the most fun experience I've ever had. You get to go to places like Hershey, places like Atlantic City for a 3-day overnight trip. But you also get to compete against people all over the state and all over this region. For me, in freshman year, I got the chance to go to nationals in Florida. So, it's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Econ and Finance team really quickly because honestly, I had no interest in neither economics nor finance coming into the junior year. And actually, what we did is we had to create a 20-page report. Has anyone heard of the University of Pennsylvania? Anyone? People know. You guys know it's a really good school, right? So basically, we were to submit a 20-page report to the school to get graded. And actually, our results are coming out within the next week, which we're pretty nervous. So you go back.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, no matter even if you don't have the greatest passion for it, still try it out because trust me, I knew nothing about stocks, literally 0 things before I joined the challenge. And honestly, me and Shreyas, I'll say we created a pretty good product at the end.
Exactly. And the thing about FBLA is for me in freshman and sophomore year, it developed my passion for business. See, I wanted to be a scientist throughout all my years of school before high school. But, that changed as soon as I got into high school. So it really goes to show that there's a lot of things that you can explore.
Exactly. So, along with balance with sports and clubs, is balancing time to have with your friends. So, me and Shreyas have a pretty big friend group, and on the right is a picture of us at my birthday, and on the left is a picture of us at a Sweet 16. But basically what we're trying to say is you should be as friendly as possible because you never know how your friends can help you. Whether it's sending answers for the calc homework at 11:30 p.m. when it's due in 20 minutes, or if it's genuinely talking to you and listening to you and sitting down with you and hearing about you.
Or if it's staying up at 4 a.m. trying to figure out a 5D shape. Okay.
Pre-calc is terrible.
Anyways, so I really want to stress this slide. Mistakes are necessary. You will find some roadblocks. You will find some things that you're not able to overcome. But what you should try to do is work hard. You want to work hard just like Saransh did.
Alright guys, so I'll be honest. In my AP Calculus class, Chapter 4 is widely regarded as the hardest one. But honestly, I did end up getting a 69 on the quiz and a 67 on the test. And I know you guys are laughing right now, but trust me, wait until you get to high school. Anyway, alright, let's calm down.
If you think this is crazy, you should see what's on the next slide. Oh my god. Alright. Calm down.
Listen. Alright, those aren't my actual grades, but I'm just showing that oh dang it, how was it? Alright, listen.
Okay guys, listen.
What I'm trying to say is that no matter where you start, even if you start from there, you can always improve. And those are my actual grades on the right. As you can see, in Lang, I still have a sad face because that's a bad, terrible class. My grades actually look like this, whereas if you go on Shreyas' Genesis, they'll look more like the ones on
He's completely lying.
I was 64 on the essay.
So, you guys should listen up. So, it's okay not to know yet. We know you guys are 6th graders, and even like me and Saransh, last year we didn't know what we wanted to do. We didn't have any idea about the different types of careers. So, even high schoolers don't know their career path, and you should take it one step at a time.
Yeah. Honestly, the last part is really important. You should be taking it one step at a time because mistakes are a part of the process. Going back to the part about mistakes, people think one of 2 things about failure. They think failure is the end of a path or it's in the middle of a path. I honestly think different. I think failure is where you start a journey. Once you fail, then you can know what you can improve on, and then you can do better for the next time. For example, we looked at my grades. I genuinely did get a 67 and 69 on Chapter 4, but that was because I crammed the night before all my studying. I think I studied 3 hours the night before. But for the Chapter 5 quiz, what I did was I spread my studying out over 5 days of about 30 to 45 minutes each. And I was able to get a better score on that one at least. So just, I implore you guys to take it one step at a time.
Okay. So, we have come a really long way from starting our podcast in August to now, where we've interviewed 5 people and we hope to interview a lot more. And we want to get more insights, we want to get more advice, we want to help our listeners get the guidance that they need. And this was up to us at FBLA last year, and you know, the baby pictures. So thank you guys for listening to our presentation today, and we hope you guys had a great
Whoa,
time.
hold on, give me 1 second. Let's go to the next slide. Please follow our socials.